Bart, Jeremie Frimpong, Leverkusen. Now, under Xavi, we all know Xavi, naturally, they play a back three, which means by nature, Bart's, he plays in a 5, doesn't he? Or the right wing back. So it's a different structure completely to what we play. People are jumping on the fact that he did his Scouse impression when he greeted Gravenberch and VVD this week at the Dutch camp. So maybe people are looking on that. I don't know too much. But we do know from digging around, this is a player that's been seriously looked at. And it's important we put these facts on the docket as well. Would qualify as homegrown because of his youth past, where he's come from, City, etc. So that goes in. And a release clause. And no one likes release clauses like Liverpool Football Club. So around, it's believed to be the 33 million quid mark. Those are two pros. I might be wrong on this, Bart. You might be about to list some stats that fall into the con column, but we'll run the usual people and we'll get the analysis.
Yeah, that price is, that might change my overall opinion on him. But anyway, we'll start with the usual, where he's playing time. So we generally got, I think he's become a starter, hasn't he, for under Xavi last season, which they were largely probably about second best side in Europe, maybe undefeated, but they were very, very true. They weren't in the top competition, which is why I think you definitely classify them as being the best team in Europe. But they won the league. First time buy, haven't done it in donkey's years, so fair play to them. He clocked up 2,500 minutes, which is good in terms of 90 to 25 out of 31. So started two-thirds of the games. So good. This season he's at 1,800, so a little bit down. It probably come in around the 2,000 mark, I imagine, because they're out of Europe. They're out of Champions League, I think, and they're out of the German Cup's finished, so it's literally league games to go. So not a bad set of minutes for him to then kick on. As you can see, he quite rightly noted he's been at Celtic, he's been at City, so there are some homegrown, some elements in there which would help you out. So he has got 1,400 minutes in the Premier League, for example. So interesting. In terms of what does he do, because we are looking at a more, I think it's fair to say, attacking-based fullback. Yeah, that'd be fair to say. Attacking. If you're at 5, you're going to be asked to go and do a lot of the help up top. So just trying to find a bit now. He's got some good stats about him, I think. Here we go. So assists this season, he's got 5 in the Champions League. In the winning side, he had 7. If we topple that per 90, which is what we try and do, so he has got 190. So that's less than his previous 2 seasons so far. Okay, so he needs to probably improve on that slightly. In terms of XG, if we top of that, he's down from last season. So last season he was 0.33. So that's a drop off, do we say? And he might be doing a few different things, but that also could be because Leverkusen aren't on such a massive roll.
True.
When you get there, it's like we've watched top sides go on 18 games unbeaten run. You just turn up and things just happen and players carry on. So there could be a bit of a momentum about that. But if you combine all of those together, top of it penalty, not penalty goals and XG is on 0.37. Right, considering we normally set our forwards at about the midpoint, 0.66, 0.65, going out to 0.7. He's at 0.3. Okay, for a fullback. Yeah, and what I will say, I'm not going to compare him to Trent because that's just unfair. No. Trent is a wonderful, wonderful footballer, and I do hope he gets to see the game play for us. But what he does, and our system is added to enable him to do, you're not going to find another footballer. So what I will do for this comparison purposes is I will compare him to Bradley when we get to that point. So if we look at our percentiles as we normally do, and we're using the fullbacks tab here because we're going to buy him as a fullback, right? Yeah. People might be like, oh, that's a bit unfair. But we will profile players to fit Liverpool, not a thing that they are currently doing now. So as a fullback, I mean, they're not the greatest set of defensive metrics, I would say, in the world, are they? 16th percentile for areas one. Even for our fullbacks, we would be expecting them to be in the 75th, 80th percentile. Okay, so I will check the exact percentage coming up, but that's not a good sign for asking our fullback, particularly in the Premier League, where if you overhit a cross, it'll go to the back post. You see Robbo struggle with that week in, week out, and there's a player nipping in the back trying to put it in. That is why you need a fullback able to do that. And you also, because of the way we set up zonally, you need to have 4 good defenders to operate that zone effectively on set plays. So that's not a good start. Clearances, okay, that could be down to the way they play. I'm prepared that 1%. 1% is extremely low, but equally that might be because of what he's not asked to do it and the volume he's asked to do it isn't a lot.
True.
If we look at blocks, you'd expect that to be a bit higher because even at playing further forward, you would be stopping a passing lanes there, winger out. So that's not good. Interceptions, 3rd percentile is very low. Tackles, 9th percentile is very low. Typically, when we've done this, one of these 3 comes out of being in the green. Okay, so for none of them to be in the green suggests that the boy doesn't do a lot of defending. Now, some of that might be system orientated, but that's still, they are incredibly low percentile. Okay, so if we look at though what he does in between the boxes, which should be where he shines, right? The wing back typically operates between the 2 boxes. Okay. So progressive passes received, that's when he's up high, receiving a ball from deep, 99th percentile. Brilliant. Okay, about 10 a game. That's awesome. Okay. We look at touches in the penalty box for a fullback, 99th percentile. Brilliant. So he's getting up, he's in and around the hot zones we talk about in that half space. Brilliant. Take ons, 80th percentile. That's incredibly high. That's really good. Okay, progressive carries. So he likes to carry the ball. Robbo. Yeah, Robbo likes to carry the ball. He's not
absolutely.
He's not going to pass it. Passing, low, 76th percentile. 76%, sorry, 34 percentile. So if you're going to carry the ball, that's fine, but your completion should still be high. Robbo's pass completion will still be high, even though you won't attempt that much, right? Trent's will be this level because he tries the risky ball. This guy isn't trying the risky ball because he's in the 4th percentile for progressive passes. So, yeah, that's something to look out for as well. But what does he do in the box? So, non-penalty goals for a fullback, 95th percentile. Great. Non-penalty goals, 99th percentile. Shots, 98th percentile. So he takes nearly 2 shots a game. Bear in mind that's Nunes levels.
Yeah.
Right? That's not bad. Be fullback to be doing that. Assists 0.21, we've said 89th percentile for fullback, so that's around what we want. Combining that all up, so what does he do for shot creating actions? 84th percentile for a fullback. There's attacking wide, he is very good. He's like the lad at Girona we looked at in Spain.
Gutierrez, wasn't it? Yeah.
Gutierrez, yeah. But just check out his aerial rate, just to because that'll bother me otherwise. Miscellaneous. Aerial 34% for this season. His highest is 50. That's below a level we normally expect for a fullback.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm not going to compare him to Trent. We'll just look at it for Connor. I mean, that's pretty much the polar opposite. So the bits that Connor isn't good at, Frimpong is. So, and I say good at, people please don't shout at me. Connor's a good player, but we're comparing players that sound like it, right? So Frimpong beats Connor in non-penalty goals, non-penalty XG, assist, which is like threat. Combine them two and shot creating actions. And he only matches up in terms of progressive carries and take-ons with Connor. Everything else, Connor beats him on. So percentage of aerials 1 beats him. A percentage of dribblers at him, he wins that battle. He wins passing, he wins that battle. So Connor is also a carrier of the ball, right? But he's got a far, look at his passing completion here, far in excess. That's almost 20%, 30% percentile higher than from Frimpong. So And again, we don't typically get in paying stations, but he's already got clearances better than Frimpong. Blocks the passing lane better. So there's a lot to Connor's game that is very different. So it's hard to see how this fella would fit in, but we always say the club have access to other data, which we might not have. All right. If we look at the stuff that I will do, so he's typically playing this right-hand side. So he's involved in Leverkusen don't have the similar pattern of build, right? So we would typically see a triangle here, whereas they've gone with a standard square into their 10, and then the 10 will try and link up elsewhere. So it's a different build profile. I mean, this is continuing. Again, this is almost 70 minutes of play. There's still not a lot of triangles formed there for the right-hand side, which would be something to think about. In terms of how often he receives the ball, that's about 2 touches or 2 passes every other minute. Not too bad. He's the out ball. Level of build-up, he's only involved in very low, which is below five passes per move, right? Our fullbacks are involved a lot longer. Our fullbacks are used to being recycling. So, when we're on top, we'll go back to a recycle U. This is something he isn't necessarily used to. Now, considering he's really high, you might think, well, what's he like? Does he offer passes in zone 14 or the half space? No. 2 passes. Considering that's where he would spend a lot of time, that's not a great deal of activity in there. EPV, so what does he do when coming the other way? He did stop 100% of threat the other way. That's fine. Threat location for him will be down this area here. It's not particularly high. So it's not looking great in terms of what you're off doing it. In terms of what's he doing the other way, there's 70% of duels in his area, but remember to play 3. So these 3 areas will be covered by so your defensive left half, and right half space will be covered by centre half and a sweeper in the middle. So that will enable just the fullback / wing back to operate in the wide channel. So they should have a more concentrated area to do, which, it's still at 17%. Okay, so that's a really high volume. So they do target that area, which you'd expect. But he's offering things. We say he's not shying away from it. XG, he did get a goal in this game. So that's not too bad. In the just after half time, and he helped create XG in set pieces and regular play. So on the ball operates in areas that you'd expect for his position, but the build phase isn't necessarily in a way that we are used to doing at the moment. So you might have to get used to that. Defensively, very different, very concentrated on being wide because he's got 3 inside to help him out. And the position he takes is probably a little bit higher than we're used to. But if we look at him from an individual profile, dual success of 42% in this game. So, okay. So he was involved in 14 duels and won 6 of them. So, I think we'd be able to go at Robbo, to be honest with you, or Trent if he was that low.
True.
Pass success in this game was 71, which is higher than his average, but still it's not great. He did create 17% of the team's threat though, which that's pleasing. Trent is higher than that, but that gives you an indication. But then it's also to do with opportunity. Plays higher up, so he should be able to do it. But he's in a wider area, so there are some things to like about him. He operates in this wide area here, and in terms of all the metrics looking at him, he's pretty much bang in line for his position on average. So it's not pulling dots out. So I think it's interesting. The only other layer we can add on, because we've got Bundesliga,
physical.
We've got some physical data. So he's got top speed of 36 Ks, which is pretty quick. It's quicker than I would say both our fullbacks at the moment. He has high intensity runs at 16.25 in about 25 starts for that. So not a bad number. Distance to 200. So that's under 10k a game, which is, we would normally suggest that we're carrying that, because most of our players do about 10k a game. Although we have started to step off the second half of the season, but that's still a little bit lower for us. And sprints is just short of 800, so again, that's about 4 or 5 a game. So yeah, he is incredibly quick. He has 67 crosses, so across the number of games he's played in, that is less than 5 a game. So interesting, a low crossing site, but then you would have seen that with the build with a square, it wasn't looking for him to get in high, so different. So yeah, an interesting profile. Takes the same number of shots a game than some of our forwards. Is probably something to be thinking about, whether you want your fullback to be doing that. But yeah, I mean, what's the price? It's £30 million. It would be a very different option to what we've got. Very different option. And I think you'd have to learn a bit to play in our system. But then again, if Trent's not here, we're going to have to switch system anyway, so it might be something different. You know?
Yeah, it is a tough one. When the pros are that stark, it's interesting, and we're talking rapid 36, but when the cons are that bad and the defensive metrics are just that low, it doesn't really fit. And as you said, Bart, you've got to remember, people, he played in a wing back, isn't he? It's a completely different ask, a different system. So yeah, it is hard to see this one. Interestingly enough, a few comments coming in, so thanks for sharing this. PJ Tapper saying the right back from Feyenoord looks more interesting. Funnily enough, Young Reed may be on Bart's homework list. You'll have to keep an eye out for future episodes that way. And Helio Matthias there saying, when did Slot use a hyper-offensive right back in his system the last time? Frimpong is fantastic, but more a pass version of Trent with a lot more defensive duties. And ultimately, Bart, for this, does it come down to, and I know people will talk about, but Trent plays passes, Trent bombs on, Bradley's responsible for just bombing on and hitting the line, going past Mo Salah. But there's a lot more to that than playing as a Liverpool fullback, isn't there, on the right?
100%. I mean, to be fair, Connor comes inside a lot more than people would realise. If you look at his touch maps, it doesn't stay wide at all. He's tasked with very much driving into midfield and going and ended up in and around the space between the forward and Mo. And he occupies people. Sometimes he gets on the end of a border behind and pulls it across, but generally occupies people. So therefore, Mo is freer. He's 1v1. It's different. Trent, this season, has been deeper his approach. In a lot of games, he's inverted beautifully, to be honest with you. We've gone in and he's inverted into midfield and he's dominated the game from them. There has been games when he's played high and wide, but that isn't as much. If you look at his average touch rate for a season, it's not as high and wide as previous. So I think Frimpong is ultra high up there. I think this would be a change. How would it work into an Arnold slot system? It has got. You could think maybe it goes back to the early Klopp slides where the fullback just have to bomb on and defend. Maybe there's just question marks on whether or not Frimpong can actually do the defensive part. You don't really want to end up with an Alvaro Moreno playing right back. It's just, for all of Moreno's abilities going forward, it was always his defensive half that was questionable. So I think given you're going to get this player in, he's got a summer to get this guy up to speed. And if we're all reading the tea leaves correctly, this guy would have to start. That seems quite a large jump to get him to work in an Ireland system. He's a brilliant coach, but given the docket of work he might also have to do, this might be a lower down the priority, kind of like, right, if I have to, I'll get this player, but I'll see if I can do something else, because the tweaks to our attacking setup, as we touched upon in the last on the pressure pod, could be quite substantial. It's not quite as signing up, and I think that's a great point. If we sign Kirkes at left back, we are not signing another right back. Like, you're doing one or the other.
They can't all go.
They can't all go, right? Because we're definitely not playing that way, because we're not going to sign a 6 like Fabinho. We're just not going to do that. If you want both fullbacks attacking on, you have to have a Fabinho type 6. We're not going to. I don't think we're going to sign that. The player that would fit with this profile is Hato.
Yeah.
Because then you would cover across. Hato would sit in a 3. Yeah, provided BBD and Konate stay, obviously. But there's a 3, and then Frimpong could do what you need to do. Yeah. Then you would need a left winger that is a bit more progressive, bit ideas, but without a bit more regular output to balance out the attack that way. So that could be a way we go, but that's a lot of ifs and buts and a lot of tweaks there. So yeah.
Which, let's be honest, people, works in the con column as well. So we'll file this under maybe not impossible, but difficult to see.